No. All right. Okay, Miss Lisa, and we are live.
Okay, everybody, it's 4 o'clock and we are starting our Learning Curve Summit. Woo!
Yay.
Today, our special guest is City Manager Jim Lewis.
Yay.
Yay!
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a hit. A lot of people watch it, and I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
being invited. And I just want to thank you, ladies, and the Chamber of Commerce for all the work you're doing to support business downtown and the beach cleaning, and it just really makes a difference. So I really, on behalf of the council, thank you very much for what you're doing.
Well, thank
It's
you.
our pleasure. We love it. I love it anyways, which is why I'm down there every Sunday. So I think it's a great way to start my day.
For
So
sure.
Jim,
Yes,
before we
ma'am.
talk about anything about the city, let's talk about Jim Lewis.
Yes.
Who
We
is
want to talk about Jim Lewis.
Wow. I'd rather talk about the city, but
I was just saying, I'm like, we don't know, like, what does Jim like to do on his days off? I mean, we'll see you around occasionally, but we know you've got a family and all that, but it's like, everybody has downtime and we like to get to know that side of Jim.
sure. And if I may turn a few shades of red as you asked me to talk about myself. So, but I'll certainly try. I do have a family. I love my family. I have my wife and I have been married for 18 years, and I have a 7-year-old son, Troy, and a 12-year-old daughter, Gracie, and they're both involved in scouting. I'm my son's Cub Scout den leader. So I lead a group of about 8 boys, second graders. That's as good a time as you think it might be. My wife and I are very involved in our church as well, in children's ministry. So we really believe in investing in the future of our country. And I really enjoy helping kids to see the light bulb above their head as they figure things out. And so that's some of my nonprofit work. I really enjoy hiking and outdoors. And so we love living here. Our family every weekend will go for a long bike ride or a hike, whether it's here at the preserve or Bob Jones Trail or along Cayucas, the bluffs there, the Estero Bluffs. We really like those hikes. We like camping. I'm an Eagle Scout myself, and I've never left that. And so I really enjoy being in the outdoors and enjoying the creation of those things. I love to cook, believe it or not. Maybe I'll cook for you sometime.
Oh, really?
And so on weekends, you might find me cooking for my family when we go on vacation. Part of the joy for me is the meal planning of it and actually cooking. And so I really enjoy that. And I enjoy, this is something people may not know. My hobby gone wrong is I'm also a winemaker. This is my label, Red Claw. And so I do enjoy, I make a Zinfandel and a Petite Syrah.
Oh, nice.
And, from local grapes, of course. And so
some of my favorites. Yay.
we give a lot of it to charity. It's not for sale. And so it's a way that I can support charities through silent auctions and that sort of thing. So I think those are some of the things I really enjoy. I love traveling very much with my children. I was raised, I would say very, very low middle income. And so we didn't have any resources to travel growing up. We never left the area at all. We go tent camping and things, but I didn't get to go on a plane till, I think I was 16 or 17 years old, and a group supported me to go to a Boy Scout conference. And I didn't get to see anything outside of our state, really. And so to be able to take my kids to see some of the country, I think it's an amazing country. It's beautiful that we have. So I like travel too. So those are some things I like to do.
And you went to high school here, did you not? Did you?
No, I went to high school in Torrance, so another beach community, Torrance, California. It's just down the coastline here. And interesting enough, in high school, I was very interested in government, believe it or not. And I was actually my student body president of my high school. And I was in student leadership and really enjoyed serving people and getting things done and seeing how we could bring people together. And it just never left me. So I think city management was in my blood. Let me tell you how I came into this career. That's kind of interesting because people don't tend to say, I want to be a city manager when I grow up. Most people shouldn't know what a city manager is. It's really about the mayor and the city council. Those are their elected representatives. And my view is that the city manager is really the butler of the community. It's the community's home. The council represents the community, and I make sure the house looks great. I supervise the staff of the house. I make sure if the city council orders turkey for dinner, that's what they're going to get. And it's going to be a cost-effective, good tasting turkey. If they want the garden to have certain color flowers, that's what I make sure is planted. And so, but I love the ability to work with elected officials and a community to make the vision come true. That's the neat part of my job. And so I thought I was going to be a doctor. I was admitted to the University of Southern California, pre-med. And I always thought I'd be a doctor. My parents were both public servants. My mother was a administrative assistant for the city of Torrance, and my father was a gardener for Los Angeles Water and Power. And so I kind of grew up seeing them in public agencies, and I was a little latchkey in the summers. And so I'd kind of, after the Parks and Rec programs in the summer, I'd kind of wander around Torrance City Hall, and I started to befriend the mayor, and I just kind of was always around civic stuff, but I didn't know what a city manager was till I was 18. And I went to a student council youth and government day the city hosted. All the city student councils came together. And when the city manager came out and talked about his job as a mix of business and politics and how he supports the organization and manages the organization to achieve the council's goals, I was bit like a bug. So at 18 years old, I knew I wanted to be a city manager. And so from that point on, I changed my major from pre-med to public administration and started doing internships right away at the age of 19. So I've been in the field for over 25 years, and I've loved it.
Wow. Wow.
So, Jim, different takeaway. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's a good question.
Your specialty.
My specialty. Well, I love to grill, and so I love to grill different vegetables, roasts, filet mignon. When I'm cooking, I love pastas. So I love to make sauces. I'm going to work this weekend on a butternut squash sage sauce.
Nice.
Pasta and local sausage. So I like doing that. I love to cook different breakfasts, whether it's biscuits and gravy or casseroles in my cast iron skillet, like a skillet, and put it in the oven. I made something the other day where I'd sliced a bunch of yellow potatoes with thyme, oregano, garlic, onion, a mix of cheddar and Gruyere cheese, and then wrapped in bacon. Talk about low-cal.
Wow.
Put that in the oven for 3 hours, and it came out. It was called a bacon tart. It was very French. It was a French recipe, and it was really something. So those are the kind of things I like to try and cook. I enjoy a lot.
And what's your address at home?
Yeah. I'll give you some leftovers sometime.
That sounds great.
Jim Lewis, the chef, who knew?
Right.
I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about it, because people see you only as city manager.
Right.
They may agree with you, they may disagree with you. And in an age where we're divided and frustrated, and it's just a really difficult time for people, I understand that. But it's important to take a step back. We're all just trying to make it in the world and love each other and be helpful. And I'm a husband and father first. That's what I am before I come here. I'm trying to do the very best to support my amazing wife and to raise my kids as good people in society. And that's my priority. And then I have the city of Pismo Beach to manage and take care of. And then there's some time once in a while for hobbies. But, we're all people just trying to do our best and make it in the world. And I think we forget that sometimes.
Yeah. For sure.
I agree, Jim. I agree with that. Yes.
So with that said, everybody is here, I would think, to receive an update from you. And I know there's a lot happening between the pandemic and the promenade opening and the Shelby streetscape. So if you want to kind of just give us an overview of everything, that would be great.
Well, there's a lot going on. I'll tell you, for one of the smaller cities in the county, we sure feel like the biggest sometimes. And boy, the council's just been very ambitious in investing in the community and improving the community. And so we do have a lot to share. I'll start, I guess, from the north to the south. The Shell Beach streetscape, we got a few things going on there. So the project is going to wrap up next week. So that's going to be a huge relief. And so this week, the major activities, we're striping the road, putting in the DG and cleaning up the bike ped path. And we're just doing a few punch list items. And so by next Friday, the bulk of that project is done. And so it's beautiful. It's just a wonderful experience to walk up that way. Even in the evening, it just feels safe, and you can push a stroller throughout the whole place. Remember, that was really 6 projects in one. We were able to underground the utility lines, put in, and this is one of the things that gets overlooked, we put in a better water system, hydrants and improved water capacity, which ends up lowering your property insurance. People don't realize that. That's like a tax cut. When we invest in that infrastructure, property insurance declines. And so that was something we did. We added the accessibility, right? Remember how the Shell Beach sidewalks were all over the place, and now they're at a level where you can actually, if you're disabled and need assistance, it's accessible. Or like me for years, pushing strollers around, you can actually get around. It's a beautification project. It's a safe route to school project. There were so many different pieces that made it really complicated. And so and then mix in that you had a bunch of pipelines and oil lines from the old tank farm that weren't in the plans that we had to work around, and just a lot of that stuff. So we really appreciate people's patience, but it's largely done. The very last piece is what we'll do at the center of the crosswalks. And we were going to put pavers in those, However, the contractor, in the end of the day, just didn't feel comfortable being responsible for those pavers and didn't like how they'd be installed. And so we've asked Mr. Madonna to come back with some options that we can share with the community to really make the center of the crosswalks pop. So Shell Beach Streetscape, we can start to celebrate that at the end of next week. We'll have peace, we'll have quiet, we'll have good traffic flow, and we'll get to enjoy that for several weeks to maybe months as we really evaluate what we want to do with the crosswalks.
Jim, I think the streetscape looks beautiful.
It does.
Thank you.
I love driving down Shell Beach Road now and having all of the telephone poles and electricity poles down. It is just so inviting and beautiful. Great job.
It was a vision of the community 13 years ago, and it was such a big chunk. It was really hard to figure out how to get the project going, put the funding together, but the council was very committed to it and to the quality of life and the change of just the scenery that it created. It's amazing, and it makes that corridor so much more livable and walkable. And the council just was steadfast in putting money aside over the years and moving through it. And it took a lot of courage. I'm speaking to the League of California Cities conference next week about the project. And it takes courage to do those difficult projects where people can get frustrated. And we just beg patience, because looking back on it, it just feels great. Another one of those projects in Shell Beach that we'll be doing, will start in February, are the steps, the Morro steps. And so those are the beach access point. It's been boarded up a long time. I think some people wonder, gosh, what the city's not doing anything. Why aren't they working on this? And so first and foremost, we were ready to get going on replacing those stairs. And then the rains of January of 17 came through. And
those are the ones by Ventana?
Yeah, and then up along the ocean with the erosion, the hill actually sloughed off under the street. And so we had to take a pause and kind of scrap what we were doing. But what we realized is, wait a minute, now we'll have some FEMA monies to fix that bluff, some mitigation dollars. We were able to file an insurance claim, and we had the resources that we were going to put together. So all of a sudden we could do a larger, better project. And so we wanted to take a step back, talk to the Coastal Commission about how we can make this project better. It includes a larger, better staircase, bluff protection, sidewalks and access, some telescopes, some additional pads for chairs to sit and enjoy the view. So it's a much more robust project. That will start in February. It's funded, it's approved, and we're going to go to bid in December. So that's another great project that's coming for Shell Beach. We also, even if we could have done it a year ago, we wouldn't. Can you imagine having Shell Beach Road torn up and Ocean Boulevard torn up? You just couldn't do that. That wouldn't work at all. So we had to wait to make sure streetscape was done, let everybody catch your breath, enjoy the holidays, and then we come back and we're ready to go. So that's a neat project coming on. And as we work our way south to the plaza's been a huge hit. Wow. We knew the letters would become iconic, but I think they became iconic by the next day. I think that, wow. I was just down there a half hour ago seeing how it was doing. And, on that note, I think people are really enjoying it. I'm going to talk about the Airstreams first. I met with Brian and Crystal of the Rib Line today.
I spoke with them the other day.
Oh man,
they want to become members of the chamber and connect with us.
They're really excited. I think you got future board members there. They've lived in Pismo Beach for 8 years.
Right.
So this is their hometown. Their kids go to Shell Beach Elementary. They're very generous people. And their food was terrific. I bought lunch there today. If you go to the Switch in San Luis Obispo, that was their Broad Street Ribline location. They're actually trying out the menu.
Right. That's what she was saying. She invited us out, Lisa, to go out there, by the way, to go taste the food.
Terrific.
Go out there.
Tacos, some unique sandwiches, funny things like mac and cheese balls that I fried.
Yep, I've had those. Yep.
There's fries that you can put a bunch of different stuff on to customize them. And they're just really neat people. And so we're looking forward to welcoming them. We're looking for probably the 3rd week of October. So we're doing the utility work now on the pier to make sure we wanted to put the Airstreams there first to make sure they're right where we wanted them. And then we're doing the utility work so they have sewer, water. The hookups are already, the lines are under the pier, but we have to actually put the hookup to where we wanted the Airstreams to be. And
their business is called Sunset, right?
Sunsets of Pismo. Let me show you. This is their logo. You'll see it here first.
Oh, cool.
Just really, and this is, their trailer's going to look something like this. And they're going to have some really neat, this is kind of, they're testing some of their seating configurations.
Okay.
We're going to be very proud of it.
So what's the tentative opening?
I think by the third week of October, they should be open. And then Troy Sheldon, he's looking to open the first part of November. And
Oh,
so
he is.
their family will be back on the pier. They've been on the pier over 50 years. And so I think it'll be really nice to have them. He and his wife are really excited. They love the Airstream out there. And so by then, I think we'll be rolling. And I think it's good to get them going towards our off season if we have one. I don't know that we'll have one this year.
Right.
But anyway, so that's where those are going. Another thing I will share with the council at their next meeting on the 6th, and I've been hearing from the council members individually. I do meet with them throughout the week to brief them on issues of the city. They're very concerned about the cleanliness of the community and of the plaza. And I think that they're very understanding of the staff resources we have, but we also recognize that we need to do more and we need to put more resources to that. And so I'll be sharing that with the council in public session at their meeting on the 6th, and I'll see what they do to direct. But I think we clearly need to put more resources towards trash and cleanliness, and the council is very proud of that, and we don't want it to be ruined. And so I think I've heard that from a lot of people as I'm listening. Oh, it's so dirty. What are you going to do about it? You have to take care of it. We hear you. The city council hears you, and we're going to put a lot of effort into.
Good to hear.
I offered to pressure wash down there.
Great. Good luck. No, we just pressure washed it and it looks better. You may have noticed that we pressure washed it this week, but we need to do better. There's like buffers and little street sweeper things that can, so we're going to be testing different alternatives throughout the next few weeks to see what we can do to clean it up even further. But we're very proud of the plaza. So that project's going. And then the other project, Central Coast Blue, that's one of those sleeper projects. It's huge. It's our recycle water project. And all 3 cities have agreed to a framework for participation in that. Now we're working out the kind of the governance issues. We're going to begin our test wells next, probably January, to start seeing how the water actually flows through the basin to test injection and then pulling the water back out. And that creates a sustainable water supply for our community. So just some really big projects. And then, for any one city, those would be enough, but that's not enough for us. The city council still has more they want to do. So we're still working on parking structure plans and design and really trying to dial in where that might be. I think 21 will be the year we really focus on that and start talking about that as a community and look at where it's actually going to be and how it's going to fit. And so we're putting work into that. As you know, we have plans out there for a new fire station and public safety facility. Right. And that's actually a twofer. We will preserve the old schoolhouse, which is wonderful to preserve your heritage. So we would preserve that facade and put the new fire station into that, along with expanding the police station a bit. And so that's out there that we've designed that initially. And I think we'll talk more about that in 2021 as well. So just some big projects.
Wow. So you're not busy at all.
Not at all. And somewhere in there, we're trying to keep our community safe, and I'm really proud of our community and our businesses. We still have one of the very lowest COVID rates per capita in the county. And I think the council was very swift to adopt the mask ordinance and working with you guys. And I think that's also important to share. We want to be a swift city government. While we're building all this stuff and improving our community, we want to be able to react to the things we need to. And, the mask ordinance was an example of that. There was a lot of concern from the business community. Wait a minute. And we heard that and we quickly turned that into something that was more palatable for business, but kept our community safe. The street vendor ordinance that we just put into effect, that was written. Thank you, ladies, with your help. It was great. We could talk about that. I could hear your observations. Well, we turned that around, Lisa, I think in 48 hours and kicked it out on Thursday. The 3 of us talked on Monday, and that was out in legal form on Thursday. And so, we try and have capacity for those things too. But and I'm pleased that our community is staying safe. We've had so many visitors, right? We've had the busiest summer we've ever had, but our residents are staying safe. And I think because we're taking this seriously and our employees are staying healthy, we're wearing our masks, we're washing our hands, we're trying to distance. I sure feel like I see a lot more masks downtown. Do you both? It seems like definitely more people are wearing masks.
I mean, definitely from the beginning. In the beginning, it was ridiculous. Nobody was pretty much wearing masks, but but definitely a huge change now.
Yeah, really important.
I think our businesses are helping that a lot too, because they're not allowing people to come in without a mask on. I was over at This and That, one of Debbie Eastwood places on Dolliver. She makes people wear a mask and they have to use the hand sanitizer before they can even come in and do any shopping.
Yeah, I thought she's been that way from very early. I went in and I was very proud of them. I told them so. They were one of the stores to reopen when you first could. and they had their safe sign up quickly, and they do a great job. You're right. And I know
Yeah.
many of our businesses have stepped up, as they always do, for that. So that's terrific.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really good. Definitely. So now speaking of that, and as we entered to the next phase just yesterday, I believe. So can you speak to that a little bit and just kind of reiterate what's now allowed and how that pertains to restaurants? If you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, and I would just make sure we tell people this is a big step going into red, but it doesn't mean we can let off. And I think last time we all were able to start going out again, and the party was back on, and that party that went on is what put us back again. And so I just really want to encourage residents and our customers and our visitors, be careful. Keep wearing your mask, keep social distance. Our businesses, please really try and keep people apart, how you set your tables and how you serve. And so it is a big deal. What it means, high level, people can eat inside again, right? A restaurant can have 25% of its capacity. That alone, between the outdoor dining we put together, and thanks again for your help on that. And I'm so proud of our restaurants. They've really set up some great spaces. I mean,
Yeah,
really
they have.
incredible. And so I think between the outdoor dining and the 25% indoor dining, with still the visitors we have, I think that's really going to be helpful for our business community and for our residents to be able to get something to eat without having to wait or be pushed out. And so 25% indoor dining. Retail goes up to 50% capacity, which is good. I think most of our retail places were not really as impacted, but 50% capacity for retail. Personal services, many of the personal services, the nails and haircuts and things, can be inside again with some exceptions. Churches and movie theaters can reopen at 25% or 100 people in each auditorium or room. So that will be nice for the faith community and for theaters. So those are some of the key things that are reopening. And I think we'll start to just feel a little better. And I hope we continue to be careful. Another big thing for parents is that schools can file for waivers to physically reopen in red. And so I'm not aware of any of the public schools in our area that have done that. I know in North County, a few of the public schools are considering that for elementary school, but not here. And so many of the privates have filed for waivers down here already, but that's another thing that happens. So it's just a path. And so then we have to be in that for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And if we are in red for 3 weeks, then at the end of 3 weeks, we're reevaluated. And so we could slide to orange, which is what you want, or you can slide back to purple.
So where do we get live music back? That's what a lot of people want to know right now.
Yeah, that's a great question.
What color do we need to get live music?
Or we should put it this way too, live music being where a duo or more than one person. So
I'm really glad to talk about this because there was some confusion, and I think
big time.
Yeah, we haven't enforced there were some concerns and complaints about live music at some of the businesses in town, and the county went in and talked with them and then wanted us to enforce on that. And the more I looked into the state regulations, the chief and I do not believe live music, if it's a single person or a duo, distance from the customers, is against the state order.
Right.
And so what is live music to gather for live music, to sell tickets, to have a concert, those aren't going to be back for a really long time. But if you're a restaurant I guess that's really a restaurant, and you're outside and you want someone to play guitar and sing or play a keyboard or something, and they're distanced from the business, we believe that's acceptable. And so, and I've told a few restaurants that, and we won't be enforcing against that because we believe that if people are there for the restaurant purpose, and they'd be there anyways, which they would, and the music is apart from those people, and that musician is separated from another musician, that's appropriate, that's safe, it's background. And so we are allowing that. I think to have large bands come in where they're in proximity, and people may just be having a drink and they're not eating and they're kind of standing around, that's going to be where we start crossing a line. And I hope we're going to try and be judicious with this. We want to make sure people have a pleasant dining experience and our business have the tools to succeed. But I just hope that we can be careful. And so I think my message to the business community would be, if you want to have a single or duo, if they're a duo and they're separated and they're distant from your customers, and you are an eating place and you're serving full meals, I think those are things that will probably keep you in a good spot.
And some of the conversations I've had with with others, more out of, I guess, San Luis Obispo, um, they've been notified that if they do live streaming, they can do live streaming, and that's not, they're not going to come and shut them down for live streaming because nobody's going to be there. It's just the band that's live streaming, as long as they don't have a crowd around there. Um, but it sounds like that live streaming a band is okay, because clearly there's a lot of that happening also on social media.
Yeah, bands have been doing that for a while to keep their name out there and to keep people entertained. So,
well, and to try to make some money, I mean, that
sure.
might be a non-essential out there too. So
for sure. So I mean, I think there was word out, and I've been meaning to call a few business owners. This is reminding me I need to do that. That thought the city was trying to enforce against them, and I'm not sure where that information came.
Well,
about.
there's two that I know of that have received letters from San Luis County Planning
That's the county.
Department.
Right.
So they're coming from there, but then there's concern that the city, of course, is going to enforce that. And then that's why we've been having behind the scenes conversations with Lisa and Chief and everybody else.
I've discussed that with the police chief and the city attorney, and we looked at the state order very closely. And I just don't believe it's in the spirit of the order to enforce against single or duo playing music distanced from the customer while they're eating. That's the key. And I think if we can just work within that, I will defend our business community to the very best I can to make sure that we say that we believe that's in the spirit of the state order.
So do we know, though, what color we have to jump to in order to allow live music?
Oh, I think it's at the very end. I think at yellow, you start having auditoriums potentially. But we're a long ways away from being able to go into a club and listen to a band.
I guess the whole thing is it's not like a concert setting. If it's not a concert setting, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that live music can be received, I guess.
And I'm not an expert on that. What I can tell you is I think that it is, I think it's important to get musicians working. I think it creates a nice environment. I think if they're distanced from customers at a restaurant, that's
right.
I don't see that being against the state order.
Well, I wanted to touch on that with you because I've got a big group of people that I work with, that it's all about live music and, all of that. And I love live music. We all love live music.
Of course.
Who doesn't love live music?
It's part of the soul, live music. It's very important to people and their emotional well-being. And so, no, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So Jim, we did have a question pop up, and Darren is asking, what about karaoke?
Well, I think that's where when we start trying to push this, why would you have karaoke in a restaurant? I'm trying to think of some of our restaurants. I mean, that usually is in more of a nightclub setting or a bar setting, and those aren't open. So I think that's the kind of singing, spitting inside is what will put us back in purple. I guess we just all need to try and get through this. And I think those kind of activities are the things where people, usually if you're singing, you've been drinking, you're probably now closer to people than you should be. And that's what got us back in we were starting to reopen and had to pull back this summer. And that caused so much pain. And I think the worst thing that could happen is that we get in red and our businesses start investing again and the rug's yanked out from under them again.
Yeah, we don't want that.
And I think those kind of activities are the things that can do that. And so while it seems like it's a good thing, fun thing to do, I think we got to be careful.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jim. We don't want to go backwards because we've already done that to our restaurants once. And
that's right.
It's really difficult for businesses to open and close. And so we want to try to do our best to stay open this time.
Absolutely.
And so, well, we have you, let's talk a little bit about, I know the Chapman House had something this past weekend, and I know Lisa was involved, and
yeah, Lisa was a winner.
It was like a fun time, and so we're looking forward to going out and partying on the pier.
Yeah, I hope I'm one of your 25 guests. Lisa won a party for 25 at Sunsets on the Pier.
Yeah.
And after having their food for lunch today, I'm pretty high on them. So I think that
well,
you're going to be popular.
I got to tell you, when I told Val that I got the third bid on that. We talked about, we'll have to have Jim come.
Oh, we did.
You made my day. So let's talk about the Chapman Estate. Yeah, it's a great property, and the Chapman Estate Foundation is such a great group of volunteers. We're blessed with some really good volunteer groups in this community. I think I would be very remiss if I didn't mention Friends of Price House. The Friends of Price House has been around for decades, And what they have done is just it's just amazing what they've done to restore our founder's home. We're so fortunate to have our founder's home here. And so, and I was remiss in mentioning that earlier. And it's a museum quality place, and it's just incredible. And we are working with the Friends of Price House, led by Jeannie Nix, and to put in restrooms out at Price Park. This will come back to the Chapman Estate, but restrooms that we're going to move the Dinosaur Caves restrooms to the Price House. And so there'll be restrooms out there. And then we're putting in a path through the orchard that allows you to walk. It's more accessible, and there'll be some picnic areas. And they're putting in a terrific little plaza outside the house for events when we can have them again. So that's going to be great. And we've already bought, it's being constructed, a larger restroom for Dinosaur Caves Park. So when we are back to live music and events, we'll be able to accommodate people better. So, we've had these great groups, Friends of Price House, and now the Chapman Estate Foundation, amazing volunteer group that's really focused on improving the home. And I said I was privileged to be a part of their auction last weekend, and it was really fun. I think Jim Brescia, the superintendent of schools for the county, and I really had to ham it up a little bit because these live through Zoom auctions, when people have Zoomed all week, you really got to do something extra to make it somewhat interesting. And but they will raise. What's that? I got you.
Yeah.
Hook,
line, and sinker.
Yeah, they will raise over $30,000. And I think the city inherited this home. It was a very unique situation that Clifford Chapman, he really loved Pismo Beach and Shell Beach in particular, and inviting the community to his home on the 4th of July and at the holidays. And they were just really neat, he and Don, community people. And they wanted that to continue at their home. And so they left it to the city. And I think we've really had to figure out, how do we use it without impacting the neighborhood? Having an event center right in the center of a residential neighborhood is not a good plan. And I think the city struck a good balance. And I think we're learning, and we've tried to be very responsible with the use of the house, but we don't want it to be so restrictive that it isn't used the way Clifford wished for in his trust. He wanted it to be a place where the community could come together for live music. He loved live music. That is supposed to be a place for live music. It's supposed to be a place where we gather for plein air painting or small classes. And ideally that the home could be viewed as a small Hearst Castle. It's an amazing home, amazing architecture and collections. And so the goal is to get there. Now, as I said last Saturday, cities don't tell stories. We don't curate museums. We don't, maybe larger cities do, but that's where we need the Chapman Estate Foundation to actually tell the story and help us improve the home. Because the general tax dollar that we receive needs to pave roads and pay for public safety and fight fires. And those are the things that we have our general tax dollars for. Putting them into a home that most people may never get a chance to experience is difficult. And so that's why we need to raise money for the fixing leaky windows, fixing some of the roofing, fixing some of the roof tiles, putting in ADA paths so everyone can enjoy the home, putting in permanent restrooms. And so if one day there is a smaller wedding there or event, there's restrooms there. And so those are the kind of things that we're working on. The foundation has already been incredible in restoring the exterior of the Gold Cottage. They're working right now to raise money for the windmill. So much of the money we raised this weekend may be enough to fix the windmill, so we actually see the windmill turn again and be functional. And that just into Santa Fe is an amazing picture that people love. And so I think raising money for that, and then ultimately just more improvements to the house. We'd love for it to be a museum, to have small dinners and executive retreats in a way that's very minimally impacting the community, but accessible to all. So yeah, that's what we're doing with the Chapman Estate. And I'm hopeful that we can reopen next season with some surprises. So some new things for people. So that's what we're doing there.
Maybe people that want to donate to the Chapman Estate, you can go on to, is it chapmanestate.org?
I think it's Chapman Estate Foundation. If you check .org, if you search for that, or Swinging by the Sea, they're actually still have their silent auction going. There's some amazing auction items.
Okay.
It closes, I think, Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be a part of supporting this, there's some incredible art, some incredible pieces from the home, and you can support the foundation. We'd love it.
And we'll put the link in the feed here for everybody, just in case somebody wants to support and donate and get in on the auction last minute.
That'd be great.
One of the things that I signed up to help with is I became a bougainvillea. No, not bougainvillea.
A begonia member. Yes, my wife and I joined the Begonia Society too. We'll have to put one in like our hair or something.
Well, I'll tell you what, those are beautiful.
They are.
Room with all the begonias is Stunning.
And they're bloomed right now. I know they're so, the colors, right, of the pink and the orange and the red and the yellow, absolutely incredible. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way to put it. And so the Begonia Society will have 75 members. It's the premier annual giving group to the Chapman Estate. And I know that they sold at least 5 or 6. I know those people who bought them on Saturday. So that is another great way to support the estate. All right. Yeah, we're going to have a good party, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. And if people haven't been, once it opens up, the koi pond is beautiful. The grounds are just beautiful. So it's a place that needs to be seen by all. So as soon as it opens up again.
And I put the link there in the feed there. So if anyone wants to link on there,
Oh, yeah,
feel free.
that's awesome. Thanks.
Now, before I wanted to talk about what's coming for the Clam Festival, but we have a question, which we know that the outdoor dining has been hugely popular. And so a lot of people are buzzing around saying this is something we really enjoy, whether it's locals or visitors alike. And is this going to stick around? Can it stick around longer? How long can it go? Like, can you speak to that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think when I talked to the council about doing this and the council agreed and was very supportive, we just had to understand a few things first about how it was impacting our paid parking zone, what the Coastal Commission would have to say about taking away parking for these things. So our community had a few intricacies. So we were a week or two behind a little bit, but we had some complications others didn't. And we just wanted to work through it. And one of the things we wanted to really work through is that we believe, the council and I believe, that when we located these, they'd be there for a while. And so we wanted to really make sure that we were doing it right, that we were supporting, because again, if we put these in and had to jerk them out or move them, that'd just be disruptive. And so while I know it was a week or two later than business wanted, it allowed us to do it right and be comfortable with where we put them. And I think that was worth the week or two because they'll be able to be there longer. And so I think our philosophy is really we need to get at least through the winter, you know, when the weather starts getting inclement.
Right.
I don't know how great outdoor dining is going to be. I really hope we can get into the orange and yellow tier before then,
Right.
Because that's going to be a challenge. But at least through much of the COVID situation, we need to get way out beyond the point that we're not going back and forth, in, out, closed, open. That just isn't helpful to anybody. And so I think for the next several months, I can see these out there. Now, the bigger question I'm hearing is, can we keep them?
Right.
Well, what was the number one issue in the community before COVID? Parking.
Go ahead. Answer to all the viewers. We all know what they're going to say.
Parking.
Traffic.
These don't help that. And so that's something that we're going to have to talk with. They're functioning very well, no doubt. But I want to make sure we talk about we really understand the cost benefit of these and the costs and the analysis and the impact of the paid parking fund that we're accumulating to actually help build more parking. And so there's just those kind of things that we'll need to talk about. But I think for the next several months, it's safe to bet until the weather really starts to change, these will be able to be there.
I know some of the restaurants are looking into putting up some tents, so we'll see where that goes. So right. we live in Pismo dice, so maybe we won't have a lot of rain.
That's right. But I know it's a dialogue that we'll have, and we'll continue to discuss.
Since we're asking questions, there was one other question, and it was about having more of a police presence, especially in the evening time down at the promenade.
Yeah, I think that we certainly are aware of that. We've put cameras down there and we actually can see what's going on down there from dispatch and the watch commander's office. Right. So there are eyes in the sky, so to speak, as we see things. And that is definitely a tool we have through our community camera program. In the evenings, we do have, we're a small department and we have 2 units on in the evenings looking at the north and the south. And then the sergeant obviously is also out there. And so we have units go through downtown several times, the southern unit an hour throughout the evening. And so I think we have adequate patrol over downtown between the cameras and the southern unit. We are bringing back dedicated bicycle officers. We have very good result with those. Good. They will be out this weekend. And I know that's something that the chief likes to do.
I saw one out today.
You saw one today?
Today, yes.
Good. Yeah. Being a police officer is not really easy these days.
I know.
And it's really a challenge. And I really thank the men and women of the Pismo Beach Police Department for their professionalism and their service. And they just do a great job in a really difficult time. That said, it's hard to recruit. And, we actually have 4 positions open. And so we're already a small department. We have 4 positions open. We are just about to hire 3 amazing people that we'll send through the academy. And we're talking right now with a lateral transfer to our department. Thank goodness we have a great leader in Chief Miller and a well-resourced department in a beautiful city. So we are an attractive place to be. And so that really helps. But I think even when we do that, that will help with some of the ancillary assignments, the downtown resource officer, the bike officer. And so those are all things we want to make sure we get back going.
Okay, let's talk Clam Festival.
Clam Festival.
What are we doing? What are we going to plan
What are you guys
for?
doing? How are you going to do the wine walk? I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's why I want to hear what you guys are going to do.
I don't think you're going to do the wine walk. I know we're looking at some way to do kind of we don't want to break out and forget the Clam Festival. Some things, the council and I are pretty determined to try and keep life as normal as possible.
I mean, how many years is this?
Gosh,
year
I want
is
to say
it?
it's like 70.
Yeah, it's like
8 or
Yeah, I thought it was 78, 79 years.
yeah, it's something in there. And so, we want to make sure we're likely going to do some release of videos on the day the Clam Festival would have been with Sam and Pam the Clam. We're talking about a virtual parade. We are soliciting restaurants to participate in the clam chowder contest, where people will still be able to buy tickets and come around and pick up their own clam chowders and then try them at home and vote online. So we're going to be doing that. We still have the judges panel that will award the judges' choice. So there are going to be some of those things. Last I'd heard from Gordon, I think we had 6 restaurants signed up. So we want more. We definitely want to get more people involved.
Okay, so who do they get in touch with?
Gordon Jackson.
Gordon, okay.
Or Mickey Salazar. Either one of them are great people.
I'll put Gordon's cell phone number all over social media. I'm just kidding.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that. So we're going to have, we'll do some virtual things. We're definitely doing the clam chowder tasting.
Okay.
And so some of those things that are important, we don't want to have a break in the Clam Festival.
Okay.
It's too important to our heritage.
Okay, well, the chamber, we're working on something, formulating behind the scenes, which we'll have a conversation with you about on kind of what we're thinking about. So, but we still want to be able to participate in some degree.
We aren't able to figure out a way to do band review, right? That's a little difficult. Kids can't do marching band. There aren't marching bands right now. And so band review is canceled. But Clam Festival, we still want to have some semblance. We're also talking about, is there anything we can do for pumpkins in the pier or, and that one's tough. We're still trying to figure out a way. Do we hand out drive-through pumpkins and goodie bags to kids, or do we have some activities, or do some kind of online costume contest where you walk by and we give prizes? We're still talking through something.
Or they could all Zoom in, and there. Can you imagine a Zoom with a bunch of little kids with a bunch of costumes on? I don't know.
I can't imagine kids wanting to Zoom in for anything they don't have to after a full day of distance.
I know. Yeah.
My kids are, man, it's a lot of work for them.
My grandson,
they're pretty beat.
Yep. It's something. It's a big adjustment for little kids for sure. So we have
on the whole, we're trying to do as much as we can to maintain our heritage and maintain our events where we can safely. Safety is always first and foremost, keeping our community well. And then where we can do some of these things, we're sure trying. And you guys are good partners in that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We always try to see what you guys are kind of doing, and I know we can follow usually behind that. So we have a question about how long the $5 parking will be in place, or is there an end date, I guess?
Yes, there will be an end date. I was actually in a meeting discussing that yesterday. So that is actually based on occupancy of meters. And so prices will be coming down. Really, the whole point of paid parking is meant to create turnover. And when we're so popular and we have so many people descending and people are willing to pay that to get a parking spot, we charge it, because the whole key is making sure 15% of our spaces are always available. That is good for business. We want to make sure people will either be willing to pay for parking by time, by walking to where they're headed, or by their wallet if they're in a hurry or they want to have convenient parking. And so we set the price to make sure we have a 15% vacancy. So there's always a space. And so as we start, some are crowded. And so we're trying to figure out when there's a level off, when we see a fall off. We do definitely expect to lower rates down to the $2 is the low rate. $8 is the high rate. We've never even gotten close to that.
Oh, wow.
We don't need to, but I think now that what do we do with that money? Right? You hear some all the cities getting people or hitting them, and well, what we're doing is we're saving all that money. That is what finances the parking structure and additional parking improvements. That money also paid for the Addy lot rehab. They added spaces and made it brighter and cleaner. And so the paid parking fund fixed Addie. So this council has made it very clear that the paid parking fund is all about parking, and they use it for that only. And so those revenues, as we've increased those revenues, that's helping us get closer to mitigating other parking challenges.
And another question about parking, how far off is a parking structure for Pismo Beach?
I think it is very realistic to see a parking structure under construction in the next 2 years and open 3 years from now. And so I think we are putting together a lot of information right now, financing models, site plans, best practices, layouts, and a general area that we're working on. And I think beginning in 21, we're going to be able to, I hope, have some announcements on that specific location and timelines. And so we're doing at the staff level a lot of groundwork to make sure we're really ready to move forward on that in 21. So I think it's very possible.
You hear that? The parking structure is coming, you guys.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
I can tell you we're looking at a structure that's 440 spaces that will net roughly 35 parking spaces. And so that's terrific. And what I mean net is we're actually using some of the city parking lots. So you're going to lose that first level of parking when you put the structure on top of it. But that's a huge increase. That's almost a 15 to 16% increase in our downtown parking capacity. That's a tremendous shot out the gate.
Huge, huge.
Yeah,
and so a parking structure, if you wonder, what does something like that cost? You know, they're about $50,000 a space. So if you're building 400, so you're $20 million for a parking structure. So that's where this is nuts. This is no
say that amount again.
Yeah,
Jim.
say that amount.
$20 million. $20 million. And so I think that we need to make sure we get it right. The design.
Oh, this is a good one.
It's not too little. And so that's what we're working on right now.
This is a good one. Well, Debbie, poor Debbie, because we brought her in at the chamber that's helping us out. And she's, of course, you're pretty much admitted into Pismo Beach when you get a parking ticket. So so she's asking about, and we failed to tell her, about the whole situation, but so she's asking, is there a parking permit for employees and employers? So if you kind of.
Yeah, it's a $35 permit and you get to park in the Main Street lot. And it's just a great deal.
I could have bought 2 already with my tickets.
Yeah, for a year. And parking, thank you for your investment in the parking structure.
Hey, I'm
parking ticket revenues also go towards the parking structure. So, if you get enough parking tickets, maybe we'll name us parking space. But parking passes are a deal at $35 a piece. And I don't know why more people don't buy them.
Maybe the chamber needs to put it out there more. I mean, we have our newsletter. We have ways and means of getting information out. And, clearly she's working within our facility and we didn't even tell Debbie about it. So. And
we want to move people into the Willis lots. One of those, our Main Street lot, is one of those lots that we want to move people to. It's one of the last to fill. And so the more we put employees there, the more other parking will be available for our customers and our visitors. And that's really important.
Makes sense. Okay.
And we have 2 more questions.
Great.
All about parking. So we're
on the parking.
I told you before COVID, parking was the issue.
Will the parking for the structure be free or will they have to pay?
That is a really good question. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. So I think we need to take a step back from that. We need to look at parking as a system. And so the highest valued parking is 100 block of Pomeroy and 200 block of Pomeroy. That's the center, followed by the pier parking lot. That's a big one. And so when you look at parking in the structure will be less desirable than the 200 block, less than the 100 block, and so that's how we're setting our rates. There's really a lot of science to it. And so if we're able to, I'm sure that there will be a fee at some point, but is the first 2 hours free to encourage people to park in the structure and leave the spacing on the street for people to pay the $4 or $5 an hour if that's what they want to pay? It's a whole system. And so the whole system needs to raise enough revenue to support the financing payments and the operation of the parking structure. And so that's how we're looking at it. But that's exactly the kind of stuff the staff and I are working on right now. And then we'll have a big report for the council in early 21, laying out all those models and options so the council can direct me on how they wish to go. And so that's why I say 21 will be a big year for the structure, because we'll know what it looks like. We'll know where it is. We'll know how much it's going to cost. And so And I think I'm going to step on something here. There's a discussion about Price Street. Is Price Street paid parking?
Right.
And
Hey,
I
that
probably
was on my list. Price Street.
I think it's inevitable as we have a parking structure. I can't charge for the parking structure and a free parking on Price Street that's in demand. And I
Right.
think one of the good parts about paid parking on Price Street is that would allow the time requirement to come off. And so I think that that would be helpful because that time limit can be really frustrating for some businesses. They're going to get glasses at your place. They want to have a glass of wine at Ash's and then go have dinner. Oh, we're out of time. Got to move our car.
Right.
That's, and so paid parking would help that. I also, I kind of sneak around the community from time to time and look behind a tree and see what I can see. And I see a lot of employees parking on Price Street and in the stub streets where customers should be parking. And so as you create those opportunities, employees won't pay to park to go to work. They'll buy the parking pass and go to the parking structure. So it's a system. In the end of the day, I hope the parking structure is really full of employees and that we've opened up all the street parking for our guests and our customers. And so that's the idea. So I think you'll be hearing a lot of me talking about the parking system. How do we look at all 2,000 parking spaces that we have in our downtown area and how do we price them? And they'll be priced based on demand.
Good answer. So the Price Street, lighting for Price Street. And I know that there was some talk about doing some beautification of Price Street. So this question is actually about lighting on Price Street.
So we have, the council has approved beautification, lighting, and access plans, similar in some ways to Shell Beach Streetscape for Price Street. And so we've looked at 4 blocks. They're designed. We've done that. And we had put money aside to do 1 block, but that money was moved, your block. That money was reallocated to do the sidewalks throughout downtown. We put the pavers in. The council felt that was the council felt that was a larger priority to get all the sidewalks done throughout downtown, and they look terrific. And so Price Street improvements are not funded, but they're designed and they're ready. And so that's just a matter of the community. If that became a community choice or there was a source for that, that would be something we could do. So they are designed and, we'll see. And I think that one of the things we're learning a lot about lighting, right? Shell Beach Streetscape, it's a bit of lighting, and that is how it was designed, because the whole point of the project was to create a safe corridor where people wanted to walk at night, where cars coming up onto those intersections could see pedestrians, see bikers. It was a safety and accessibility project first. And so to make sure that Shell Beach Road is safe for everybody, that's why it seems bright. And I think as it gets darker earlier, we're going to be thankful to have that light when we still want to go for a walk at night or we need to run and pick something up. And so that's back to lighting. That we're looking to see, we want to wait till it gets darker to reassess that lighting and see if we get used to it. If we don't, then the city may have some options about taking a few of the lights out. That's an option as long as we maintain safe lighting. We have to make sure we're not creating a situation that's too dark. And so we may end up having some extra lights too. You never know. But they're very attractive lights, and I think they're very similar to what we expect out for Price Street.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, those lights are beautiful.
They're very pretty.
I think they're really nice. Okay,
so I want to get to this question from Sarah. Are there any thoughts of issuing permits for residents/taxpayers to park in special spots or at least special days to be able to use the beach?
Sarah, that is a great question. And as a matter of fact, when the council raised or allowed the parking rates to be raised, this is like breaking news here. This is a good question.
I love it. Breaking news right here, Pismo Beach Chamber.
That's right. I haven't talked about this in the community much yet. But the council directed me, Mr. Lewis, you can raise rates, but you have to take care of the residents. That was the council's direction when they said, we will approve you raising rates. You have to take care of residents. And they directed me to come back with a resident parking card. And we're hoping to have something for the holidays to send out to residents that will allow you to have a bank of free parking, if you will, so that you can enjoy restaurants and you can use your beach and not have to pay for parking. We can't just give residents free parking because that upsets the inventory again. But if you're given a gift card, if you will, for $50 towards parking as a resident, as a thank you for being patient and putting up with visitors, you could use that in our smart meters. And that's, so we're trying to work out that technology. And then the idea will be as our concept where residents can buy another $50 or $100 up to at a discounted rate. That still is okay because it's still a commodity, right? You have your card, you have your amount, and so you're going to go down and use paid parking when you really want to. Elsewise, you won't. And so that is something that we're going to roll out. I'm glad you asked that question, Sarah. That was very important to the council, that if we were going to raise these rates, it was important that residents have free parking at parts of the year when they want to do that. And so we will be rolling that out. And I'm hopeful as a New Year's gift or a holiday gift.
That would be amazing. That would be great.
Right?
Yeah, you heard it here.
That's great. Hey, you asked the right question, Sarah.
You guys are like 60 Minutes here. The viewers asking good questions.
Well, it's not us, it's our people.
Yeah.
So we also have clean up underneath of the Wadsworth Bridge. I think it's more of a Caltrans issue, right?
Yes, cleaning up under the bridge is we can certainly try and get on that. That's a tough one. If it's removal of debris and that sort of thing, but I'll take a look at it and see if it's not something we can handle. We did pave under the bridge, if people noticed. We did fix the big potholes and issues. We did some, as part of the council's, they wanted to do a paving project that they didn't want to wait for the big paving project we're saving for. And so they wanted to, so we did pave Hines, as you saw in Cypress and James Way, and we fixed Wadsworth and a few of those spots. But I'll certainly have our staff call the Caltrans folks, and if it's something really egregious, we'll see if we can't just take care of it.
Or maybe the chamber can go and cut some bushes off.
Always terrific.
Lisa's always volunteering us for something.
You don't always have to tell me everything you're doing, Lisa. I prefer that sometimes. I did say that on video.
Right? It's live, Jim. It's live.
Funny.
So the gal Sarah that asked the question about the parking, she did say thanks. This has been wonderful.
Oh, good. Well, it'll be more wonderful when we actually get the resident parking cards out. That'll be great.
That'll be super. That would be super.
Here's a big question. Val, can you read it better than me, maybe?
I'm not seeing it, so.
Okay, so this says, who can I get in touch with to get rid of the weeds on the bike path from the overpass that dumps onto Price Street? Also, perhaps adding a crosswalk or something. It's pretty dangerous, and a lot of people use the path to get exercise. Ocean View is a pretty busy road. So they must be talking about the path that goes
pedestrian path that goes from Five Cities Drive to Ocean View.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it weedy? I haven't noticed that before.
I haven't either. But who would you get in touch with? Well, I think anytime someone has a maintenance concern or an issue, they should call our Public Works Department.
Yep.
And they can actually look that up online. You know, while City Hall is closed, I need to say this. While City Hall may be physically closed, all employees are working. I've been really amazed at the virtual work effort we've been able to do and the productivity we've been able to maintain. You can still get permits. You can still call the offices. Employees will follow up with you on building issues, planning issues, maintenance issues. And so you can call the main line for Public Works, or you can email Erin Olsen, E-Olsen, O-L-S-E-N, at pismobeach.org. And we'll certainly take a look at it and see if it's a Caltrans issue or something we can add to our maintenance project list. And we'll do the best we can.
I don't know if people realize, but this is an app on the phone, and it's called the Pismo Pulse.
You can submit it right there.
And submit a request. You could take a picture and upload it, or just submit that there's a lot of weeds on that pass. I don't know if people know about this. It's a good
thank you, Lisa.
Now you do. See?
Shame on me for not promoting our app. Yeah, that's our city's app. You can get all kinds of information at your fingertips and submit work requests. And those go right into our work system, and an employee will review that within 48 hours and take a look and then assign it to be taken care of.
Perfect. You hear that, Sarah? Pismo Pulse app. Everybody should download that app.
I just put that on there for her.
Terrific.
So
in closing, Jim, you want to let everybody know, you know, if they're looking for information. I feel like a lot of people typically, of course, will contact the chamber, and sometimes there's things that it's through the city and there's confusion there, but they can go to the city's website typically. But then you guys have your city council meetings, and I mean, you could submit to get the agendas in advance. There's all kinds of things and tools that you have available. I just feel like, I guess, for our business community, we've done a better job, I think, of letting them know what's available to them, but just to the community in general, if you can let them know.
Yeah, our website's always a great place to start. And you can actually, through Access Pismo, which is also through our website, you'll see Access Pismo. We have really worked hard to be a transparent city government. You can access every record of the city that's been scanned. You can actually sign up through our website under government to the Notify Me. You can actually go in and submit your email and be sent agendas, notices right to your inbox. If you want to follow things and be
Or
kept
to your
up,
cell phone.
or to your right. Yep. And so I would definitely look at Notify Me as options, Access Pismo for a number of records, the Agenda Center. If you go to Pismo Beach Agenda, type in Google Pismo Beach City Council agendas or agendas, you can see the agendas of all the commissions and council meetings past. You can see the videos archived. You can see what's coming up. And so just a wealth of information for people. So those are great ways to get in touch. And our public information officer is our management services director, Jorge Garcia. He was on the show a few weeks ago. You can always check in with him on things, jgarcia@pismobeach.org. He's a wealth of information. And so I think those are good things to do. I do want to share that the council is always trying to listen and focus on priorities that are important to the community. And we are going to kick off next month our Pismo Voice. Pismo Voice, there's so many different, is our biannual, every 2 years, Pismo Voice it's the beginning of the city's budget process. So in our city, the city manager actually is entrusted with writing the city budget and submitting it to the city council. And so we start with the people first. We don't put a budget together and then ask people what they think about it. We start with our citizens and our constituents and our business owners right now. And so next month, Pismo Voice is your chance to share the 3 things that you think Pismo Beach needs to focus on or do. And so we get hundreds and hundreds of inputs, and we compile all those in December and share them with the council in January. That becomes the basis for the next 2 years' goals and work plan that becomes my focus and the staff's focus. And so Pismo Voice will start next month. And I really hope you share with your members. Please tell us what's important, because the council really uses that when they set their goals.
Absolutely. We will.
Yeah.
We're on it.
We have a tremendous city, and I'm so proud and privileged to be a city manager here. I love it. I love who I work with. I love working for the council and the staff and get to work with people like you. And aren't we just fortunate to be in such a beautiful place? When you see what's happening around the world, I think what I'm trying to say is I hope we all just can catch our breath sometimes and look at where we live and take time to just
take it all in.
How wonderful it is. Yep. And then find time to be nice to someone. We all just need, we need to be nice to each other right now.
No kidding. No kidding. That's
my final comments.
Well, I just want you to know, Jim, there's a lot of people saying thank you on here, and that it's been a great update. So we really want to thank you. It has been a great update. I mean, we fit in so much in our hour. I mean, I can't believe it.
We covered a lot.
Well, great. Well, I'm always happy to talk to anyone. I'm so proud of what we're doing, and I just want people to have good information and feel connected to their city government. Yep. We want to be responsive. And so thank you for allowing me the hour to talk with folks and share. My email is jlewis@pismobeach.org. If people had a question that didn't get answered, happy to try and do that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it. And Lisa, we always end on, what we end on, Lisa?
I do. So thank you again, Jim Lewis. This was a great hour. We appreciate your time. And don't forget, everybody, every Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning, we are down at the Pismo Pier Plaza. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to come down and check out the letters, the kids' play area. But we're down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, picking up trash in our city and down by the beach. Hopefully you'll come and join us. And who knows, maybe you'll see me out some weekend with some clippers with my
Make sure you're supporting local business with the Pismo Pass, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate your time very much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Peace out.